Hi DIYers, Joe here from Alarm Grid, and today we're going to talk about the differences between a Vista and a Lyric security system. Now later on in the video I'm actually going to go through all the nitty-gritty information. If you scroll down you're going to see all of that in a big table, and we're going to hit on each of those points. First though, I wanted to run through the big differences between the two systems that you're going to see at a glance. Now, possibly the biggest difference between the two is that the Vista system that we see over here is a wired system, whereas the Lyric, which is right up here, is an all-in-one self-contained unit. The Lyric itself has a 7-inch color touchscreen right on the front of the system, whereas the Vista itself, if you're just looking at the Vista board by itself, has no keypads, no integrated touchscreen, and no integrated radios. That right there is the main Vista system, and everything else that adds onto it are all peripheral devices. Whereas the Lyric, that's the Lyric. That's what you're going to find when you open up the box and put it on the wall, and it's ready to go right out of the box. Some of the other big differences between the two is the Lyric has a lot of integrated devices in it and communication modules. For example, it has an integrated Wi-Fi module, and it also has an integrated Z-Wave controller. The Wi-Fi module will allow it to connect to a Wi-Fi network. It can support all the alarm system's communication, and you'll be able to remotely access it through that connection. The Z-Wave module inside of it allows it to interface with home automation devices that have Z-Wave modules in them and that are compatible with the system, such as lights, locks, and thermostats. And if you have a Total Connect 2.0 monitoring account set up on your system, you'll be able to remotely access them and control them through the app. When I said Total Connect 2.0 monitoring, I might have misspoke a little bit. I meant with monitoring on the system, you'll likely have a Total Connect 2.0 account, which you'll be able to access all those devices. Both the Lyric and the Vista are compatible with Honeywell remote services, and they'll both be able to be remotely interacted with through Total Connect 2.0. It's just the big differences are in the hardware as far as the automation side goes. As I just said, the Lyric has a Wi-Fi and a Z-Wave controller built right into it. The Vista system does not have any integrated Wi-Fi options. The one that we have mounted on the board right here is a 21IP, and that has an onboard Ethernet jack right there on the board that you can plug it into an Ethernet network. If you get a Wi-Fi adapter, which is basically a little device that plugs into the Ethernet jack and then allows you to connect it to Wi-Fi, that will let you get this system onto a Wi-Fi network. But again, that's a third-party device, and that's not something that you're going to get in the box, and it's not going to be a Honeywell product. The other aspect that you're going to see right now that's a major difference is that as this doesn't have any integrated Z-Wave controllers in it, you have to add that on with a secondary device. You can use either a Honeywell VAM, which is a Vista automation module, or you can use a Tuxedo Touch, which is a 7-inch touchscreen keypad in addition to being an automation controller. This 7-inch touchscreen keypad and another device called the 6280, those are the only touchscreen options that you do have on your Vista system. Without either of those, you won't have a touchscreen option. It's another benefit to the Lyric as you get that right out of the box with the system itself. These two devices too, they're not cheap. I would say the VAM is definitely the most economical option if you want to add on a Z-Wave controller to your Vista system. The Tuxedo Touch though, it is definitely more expensive. You may find that it's even more expensive than the Lyric controller itself, and it's a little bit dated at this point as it's been on the market for some years now. It does work great. It will allow you to do all the Z-Wave stuff right on the system. It will also allow you to set up the remote automation through Total Connect 2.0. The VAM can do that too for you. But as you can see, there's a lot more involved to getting a touchscreen keypad on the Vista system and getting that Z-Wave compatibility with the panel when compared to the Lyric. Also on the Vista that you can see, it has actual physical button keypads. There are no keypads like this that are available for the Lyric. The Lyric, on the other hand, it has a wireless touchscreen keypad. It has an LCD display and touch push buttons. It's called the LKP500. That's the only keypad option that's currently available for the Lyric. The Vista also has a wide variety of sensors and devices. In many instances, if you're installing an alarm system in a new home where it's either a gut renovation or a new construction where you can get into the walls and run wires, many instances people will install a VISTA system. One of the benefits to the VISTA system is that the wired connections that it has, they're super secure and they work for many, many years. You don't have to change any batteries out if you're using wired devices. Now, the system can use wireless too. It can interface with the Honeywell 5800 devices. Those are also compatible with the Lyric system. But to be able to interface with the wireless sensors, it will need a transceiver or a receiver installed on the panel. We have one right here. This is called the 6160RF. It's a touchscreen keypad that also has a built-in receiver inside of it. And using this keypad, you would be able to use wireless door and window sensors and other devices that are compatible with the system. The Lyric can use most of the same door and window sensors that work with the VISTA system. There's only a few that don't work, and those are ones that require a house ID. I don't want to get into too much detail on that. Just know that the bidirectional devices that are in the 5800 line, they're not currently compatible with the Lyric system. With that said, though, the Lyric does have a new line of sensors that it is compatible with. Honeywell released these devices called 6 sensors, which are bidirectional, fully encrypted, 300 communication foot range sensors that only work with the Lyric system. So you will have all the options, or most of the options, in the 5800 line, and you'll also have the new line of 6 sensors that you can program into the system to work. So both the VISTA and the Lyric system can use dual path communication. What dual path communication is, it means that the alarm system has 2 modes of communication, and if one path goes down, it'll automatically switch over to the secondary path. Now, the VISTA systems, they have an Ethernet jack, whereas the Lyric system has the Wi-Fi communicator. The Lyric doesn't have an Ethernet jack, but if you have it connected to Wi-Fi and to cellular, it will use that dual path communication. Wi-Fi is going to be its primary. If that fails, it'll auto switch to cellular. Or on the VISTA side of things, the Ethernet is going to be the primary, and if that fails, it'll automatically switch to cellular. The differences, there are more differences though between the two as far as the cellular communicators themselves go. The Lyric system has self-contained cellular communicators that easily install right into the side of the system. As you can see, there's a side bay that you can open up by pushing up this tab. This comes right out, and the cell module that we installed before is sitting right here. It easily pops right into the side of the panel. So let me put this back on. Maybe put it back on. There we go. On the VISTA system, depending on what panel you have installed, it's going to change which communicators are compatible with it. On the 21 IP, one of the convenient things is that you can install a cellular module right onto the board. This is called the VISTA GSM 4G. It works on the AT&T cellular network, the 3G, 4G network, and it pops right onto the main board itself. Super convenient to install, and it's another reason of why the 21 IP is the panel to get if you're looking to get a VISTA board in that line. When I say that line, the 15, the 20, or the 21 IP, those panels, they have a certain feature set that works best for most residential and small commercial locations, and if you have the option of buying one, we do recommend going with the 21 IP. Now, if you have a 20P or if the AT&T module isn't going to work for you in an area, there are other communicators that are available for the system. There are some Verizon options right now. It's just that the one communicator that we recommend, it's called the iGSM V4G. That'll provide dual path communication as it has a cellular module and an Ethernet jack built right into the communicator itself. If you don't have a 21 IP, that's probably going to be the one that you're going to want to get, as it'll give you that dual path. It does only work on an AT&T cellular network though. If you are in an area that only has Verizon, there are Verizon communication options for the system. It's just that they're only going to give you a cellular communication path, so you won't have that dual path option. So now we're going to head down to the table that's below the video, and we're going to go over the information that is different between the VISTA and the Lyric system. This table is only going to have information about the 15P, so I'm going to fill in information about the 20 and the 21 IP as we continue on. So as you'll see, the first thing is the amount of zones total. The 15P has 40 total zones, whereas the 20 and the 21 IP have 64 total zones, and the Lyric has 155 total zones. The amount of hardwired zones that the 15P can support is 22, whereas the 20 and the 21 IP have 48 total, and the Lyric can support 2. Those are two of the hardwire, or those zones you'll find in the back of the system. There's a terminal block where you can install wires for those two hardwired zones on the Lyric. The amount of wireless zones that the 15P can have is up to 26, whereas the 20 and the 21 IP can have up to 56, and the Lyric can have up to 128. Now, the amount of zones that you can have for key fobs, these are individual buttons for the 15P, is up to 8 key fob zones. The 21 and the 21 IP can have up to 16 key fob zones, and these can be used with a combination of fob and regular RF zones, whereas a Lyric has up to 32 key fob zones. Now, the zone panics, the 15P can have up to 3 keypad panics. That's the same for the 20 and the 21 IP. The Lyric system has 3 central station panics and 1 local panic that you can set up right on the keypad. The zone temp thresholds are special settings that you can set up so that the security system and Total Connect 2.0 can notify you when a certain temperature hits based on the devices that you have on the system. The 15P doesn't have this option, whereas the 20 and the 21 IP, they also don't. The Lyric has up to 12 zone temp threshold settings. The 15, 20, and 21 IP also don't work with encrypted sensors, whereas the Lyric does. It uses the 6 sensors that are fully encrypted, and you can have up to 128 of those programmed onto the system. The Vista panels also don't have a cover tamper, whereas the Lyric does, and it'll come in as zone 997 if it gets activated. Programmable outputs, these are some of the more advanced options that you can program onto your Vista system. The 15P has up to 10, whereas the 21 and 20P have up to 18. The Lyric system, it won't have this option. The event log, the 15P can hold up to 50 events. These are events that have occurred on the system, such as arming, any troubles, anything that's occurred. The 20 and the 21 IP can have up to 100 events in their log, whereas the Lyric can have up to 6,000 events. User codes, the 20 or the 15P can have up to 32, including the master, whereas the 20 and the 21 IP can support up to 49 users, and the Lyric can support up to 48. Configurable zone types, these are custom zone types that you can edit on the Vista systems. The 15P supports up to 2, whereas the 20 and the 21 IP can support up to 4. Now, with that, you can program 2 of them at the keypad, and 2 of them can only be remotely programmed by a security dealer through a program called Compass on your Vista system. The Lyric system doesn't support the configurable zone type feature. Telco monitor, that's the phone line monitoring feature in the system. This is programmable in all the Vista panels, whereas on the Lyric, there is no phone connection. 2-wire and 4-wire smoke detectors, you can have up to 16 of those on the 15 or the 20 or the 21 IP. The Lyric, you're not able to connect 2-wire or 4-wire smokes to the system. On the 4-wire smokes, you can program those into the regular zones on the system. They just have to be on zones 2 or higher on any of the Vista panels. Battery save feature, both the panels, the Vista and the Lyric have this. Dynamic signaling, this will be programmable in the Vista panels where it's not available in the Lyric system. Key switch arming is any hardwired zone. That is for any Vista system. That basically allows you to have the system arm when you turn a key in a special lock that you can set up. The Lyric doesn't have this option. User scheduling, there's 4 for the master and 4 for the installer, as you can see, which is going to total 8 for the 15P. On the 20 and the 21 IP, you're going to have 32 total schedules. And on the Lyric system, you can certainly do user scheduling. It's just done through smart scenes on the system. Now, Total Connect 2.0, the 15P is compatible with this. It just has to be on revision number 9.12 and up. You'll find this on the PROM chip in the middle of the board. It's this little black chip with a sticker on it, and you'll see that revision information. On the 21 IP, it has to be revision 3.13 or up, and on the Lyric, all revisions are compatible with Total Connect 2.0. On the communication path, the Vista systems, they have phone, IP, Ethernet, or cellular, whereas the Lyric has Wi-Fi or cellular. upload and download. The Vista systems, the phone line is supported for uploading and downloading on all panels, and they'll just have to be revision 5.3 or higher to get the TCP/IP upload and download. That's if you have a cellular or an Ethernet communicator on the system. Your monitoring company, if the system is monitored, they'll be able to use that to access your system programming, update programming, and help with anything on the system, as long as your revision is 5.3 or higher. Now, the 21 IPs, all the panels do support remote uploading and downloading, which is great news. And on the Lyric itself, all models of the Lyric do support the uploading and downloading feature. Touchscreen keypad, on the 15P you can have up to 2 with revision 3 and up. On the 20 and the 21 IP you can have up to 4. And then on the Lyric system, you can have up to 8 additional keypads. That's that LKP 500 that has soft touch buttons and that LCD screen. The Vista systems, they don't have any sort of built-in camera, whereas the Lyric does. That is a 2 megapixel camera. You can actually look through this through Total Connect or have it take a picture when somebody disarms a system. There are voice-assisted scenes on the 15, 20, and 21 IP. You just need that Tuxedo Touch installed. And on the Lyric, the voice assistance is built right into the system. Z-Wave support, as I said way before earlier in the video, having a Vista automation module or a VAM or a Tuxedo Touch installed on the Vista system will give you that Z-Wave controller. And on the Lyric, it's built right in. You can do 72 devices connected to it, up to 6 thermostats, 6 door locks, and 60 other lights, switches, or Z-Wave modules. Chime by zone, you are able to set this up on the Vista system. You may need to speak to your security company to get some help with this, as you have to do some programming to get it done. If you do have the system monitored, I do recommend just reaching out to your security dealer, asking them telling them what you're interested in, and they'll let you know if it's possible, and they'll likely be able to program it for you remotely. On the Lyric system, you can program this per zone, and there's up to 10 chime sounds to choose from per zone on the system. Those are really the majority of the differences between the Lyric and the Vista system. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to subscribe. If you want to be notified about future videos when we post them, hit the notification button. We'll send you an update when we do so. If you have any questions about your security system, head over to www.alarmgrid.com. Give us a call at 888-818-7728 or send us an email to support@alarmgrid.com. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video and have a great day.